You ever ask this question? Why does life still feel empty when you're doing everything right? You know, you can do a lot right and still feel like something is missing. You can give the people around you everything anybody else in the world would want, and they can renounce you. And this is one of the strangest parts of life. You can be responsible, you can work hard, you can stay out of obvious trouble. You could pay your bills, handle your business, answer your messages, keep your word, and keep moving forward. And from the outside, it'll look like you're doing what you're supposed to do. People will respect you for it. Well, some people will. They may think you're doing well, yet inside, there is this quiet emptiness that you cannot fully explain. It's not always loud and it's not always dramatic. Sometimes it just feels like you're going through the motions in a life that looks fine, maybe even better than fine. Maybe it's the kind of life anybody would think if they had, they would have won the lottery. But to the person living that life, it doesn't feel full. And that kind of emptiness messes with people because it does not make sense at first. You thought doing better would feel better. You thought if you had the awesome car, the big old house, the 20-acre city park in front of your house, you thought, you know what, maybe life would feel better. You thought if you became more disciplined, more stable, more productive, more focused, more mature, then something inside you would finally settle down. You thought getting your life together would make your heart feel alive again. You thought maybe if you gave your family the life that you didn't grow up with and that you never thought you'd have the ability to build, they would be a little more attentive, a little more loving. You thought getting your life together would make your heart feel alive again. You thought getting your life together would make your heart feel alive again. But instead, maybe you got more organized while still feeling tired. Maybe you got more responsible while still feeling empty. Maybe you built a life that looks decent on the outside, but inside you still feel dry, numb, restless, or disconnected. And now you do not even know how to explain that to other people because to them, you've got the ultimate life. And that can make a person feel guilty. You start thinking, what the hell is wrong with me? Why am I not more grateful? Why are the people around me not more grateful? Why can't they see how amazing this all is? And why am I not more excited? Why do I still feel this emptiness when other people would love to have what I have? So you push harder. You try to clean up a little more. You try to get more focused and you try to improve in other areas of your life, thinking that will fix it. You tell yourself maybe you just need more momentum. Maybe you just need more structure. Maybe you need one more win. But you know what? All you're doing is winning. And the problem is, if the emptiness is deeper than your routine, then no routine is going to fully fix it. If the emptiness is deeper than your schedule, a better schedule cannot become the cure for your soul. My name's Douglas Vandergraph, and I struggle, same as you. And a lot of people are living in this place right now. And they're not wrecking their lives. They're not in some obvious collapse. They're not even doing badly by normal standards. They're just tired in a deeper way. They're trying to be good people. They're trying to stay steady. They're trying to build something that lasts. Yet underneath all of this effort, there is still an ache that keeps coming back. It shows up when the room gets quiet. It shows up after the work is done. It shows up when you finally sit still and realize that being busy kept you distracted, but it did not make you whole. The truth is, some emptiness comes from building life on things that were never meant to carry the weight of your soul. Success, trust me, it cannot do that. Discipline, got plenty of that, and it cannot do that. Stability, I'm standing on a rock, and it has not done that. Being liked cannot do that. Being productive cannot do that. Even being a decent person cannot do that. Those things may matter in their place. They may help your life. They may bring order where there is chaos, but they cannot become your source. They cannot become your peace, and they cannot become the thing that fills the deepest place within you, because that place was never made for achievement. It was made for God. And I think that's where Jesus becomes real in a different way. Not as a church idea, not as some religious add-on to an already managed life, not as a name you mention while still trying to hold your whole life together by yourself. I mean Jesus as the living one who meets you in the emptiness you cannot fix. Jesus as the one who sees through all the outward order and still knows something deeper within you is tired. Jesus as the one who does not look at your emptiness and say, try harder. He looks at it and says, come to me. And that matters. Well, it matters to me because some people are exhausted from trying to save themselves with better habits, better performance, better choices, better control, and better self-management. At some point, though, you start realizing the problem is not just that your life needs adjustment. Your soul needs Christ. And that does not mean your hard work was worthless. It does not mean discipline is bad. It does not mean responsibility does not matter. It just means those things are terrible gods. They make awful saviors, and they can never love you back. They can't forgive you. They can't hold you together when grief hits. They cannot heal loneliness. I feel lonely. I feel lonely a lot, And they cannot speak peace into fear. They cannot tell you who you are when your strength starts running low. They cannot stay with you in the dark parts of life where nothing looks polished anymore. But Jesus can, and that's the difference. He's not asking you to become impressive enough to deserve fullness. He's asking you to stop building your life on things that were always too small to carry you. And maybe that's why you still feel empty. Not because you're beyond repair, and not because you failed. Not because your life has no value. Maybe you feel empty because the human heart was never built to be fed outward success alone. Maybe you feel empty because your soul knows there has to be more than this. Maybe you feel empty because God did not create you to live on achievement, motion, and management. Maybe the emptiness is not there to mock you. Maybe it's there to wake you up. Maybe it's showing you that you need something deeper than a well-run life. Maybe it's trying to lead you back to the only one who can actually fill what the world keeps leaving hollow. And I know that can sound too simple, especially if you've been hurting for a while. And I know some people hear that and think, I already believe in Jesus. I already pray. I already know who he is. Then I want to ask you a question. Why do you still feel this way? Because that's the real question. Sometimes the answer is not that you do not know him at all. Sometimes the answer is that you have known about him while still building your daily peace on other things. Sometimes you have believed in him, but you have still looked to control, progress, routine, image, or productivity to make you feel alive. And sometimes you have carried Jesus in your mind while the real center of your life was still being held together by your own effort. And that's exhausting. No wonder you feel tired. The invitation is not to throw your life away. It's to bring the real version of your life to Christ. Bring him the emptiness. Bring him the numbness. Bring him the disappointment. Bring him the part of you that is tired of trying so hard without feeling more alive. Bring him the quiet fear that maybe this is all life is going to feel like. Bring him the ache you cannot explain, and let him into the actual center, not just the edges. Let him into the place where you keep trying to be enough. Let him into the place where you have been holding yourself together so tightly that you forgot what rest even feels like. Because here's the truth. You can do everything right by the world's standards and still miss the thing that matters most. You can build a decent life and still have a starving soul. You can stay busy enough to avoid collapse and still never become full. But Jesus did not come just to make you more functional. He came to give you a life, real life, deep life. The kind of life that does not depend on how perfect your routine is or how polished your image looks. The kind of life that can still breathe when everything in you feels worn down. The kind of life that reminds you that your soul was made for more than survival. So if you've been asking why you still feel empty even when you're doing everything right, maybe you're not alone in asking that question. Maybe many of us are. Maybe the answer is not that you're broken beyond repair. Maybe the answer is that doing everything right was never supposed to be your salvation. Maybe your heart is telling you the truth. Maybe it's telling you that you need more than order, more than progress, more than success, more than self-control. Maybe it's telling you that you need Jesus in a way that is real, close, personal, and alive. You know what? That's not bad news. That's the beginning of real hope. My name is Douglas Vandergraph, and I believe in Jesus Christ. God bless every single one of you. Every single one.